Are you ready? You need to go powder your nose.
Not a bad idea. Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. We on?
Yeah.
We're on.
Oh.
Hey, we're on. Hey.
Hey now.
Intro done? Hey now.
Hey now.
Welcome, guys. Welcome back to Barside Jive. I am DC,
And I'm AJ.
and we hope you had an outstanding weekend. What'd you do?
Worked. Work, DC.
Yeah, me
DC,
too.
That's what I do. I work
All the time.
all the time.
No play.
Well, I did go to the VFW and play pool too.
Did you?
Yeah, and drink some stuff too.
Yeah, see, there you go. You did something
But mostly it
else
was
but work. Oh my God. Can you turn that thing off? So, AJ left us, but we do hope you guys had a great weekend. I'd love to know what you did this past weekend, but there's no way for you to tell me. We don't have the comments working.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we are on the air and live, as you can tell, at AJ's Bar, located at 651 South Main Street in historic downtown Grapevine, Texas. Hopping location, right?
Popping, baby.
Big time, big time. My featured guest today is Mr. Corky Laing. Corky Laing.
Lorky King. Look at him.
Corky Laing.
Sexy drumming man right there.
There you go. Lawrence Gordon Corky Laing was born on January 26, 1948. He is a Canadian rock drummer, best known as a longtime member of pioneering American hard rock band Mountain. After the band's first breakup, Laing and Mountain bandmate Leslie West went on to form blues rock power trio West, Bruce, and Laing with former Cream bassist and vocalist Jack Bruce. How cool is that? He is like the last man standing there, Corky. Well, and here he is now.
This is Corky Laing. I was in Mountain and West Bruce and Laing, and I'm here talking to DC at the Barside Jive show. And I gotta tell you, there's a lot going on here.
If we just had a cowbell. If we just had a cowbell. Hey, thanks, Corky. We'll see you in a minute. You know, this is about the time in the show when I turn to AJ and ask him, AJ, what are we drinking today?
We're drinking Raw and Sons Mars Oktoberfest. Get it right.
In a Bud Light
In a
glass.
Bud Light, yes.
They're out of Fort Worth, right?
First Oktoberfest of the season.
That is a tasty beer.
So good. It hits your lips.
Oktoberfest. I am ready for some Wine Fest.
Yeah, coming up.
Yeah, coming up. It's going to be full blown.
Yes, sir. 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 16, 17, 18, and 19.
All right. It's going to be a good time. Focus is on wine, but the beer will be flowing as well. Well, I'm glad we're drinking beer, AJ, because it's a lot cheaper than therapy, and Lord knows I need it. And I think jokes are good therapy. Do you?
I've never had therapy.
You can't relate. You should move this.
I've heard some good jokes, though. So.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you a few.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You got some good ones last week. I hope. I don't think you can top. Yeah,
Okay,
I don't
we'll
think you
see.
can
We'll
top.
see. So this guy walks into a bar and yells, "All lawyers are assholes."
I could agree with that.
Yeah. The man at the end of the bar says, "Hey, I object to that remark." The guy responds, "Why? Are you a lawyer?" He says, "No, I'm an asshole." Pretty good, huh?
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad, not bad, not bad. All right, guys, Barside Jive is sponsored by the legendary Zoo.
The Zoo.
On vocal.
And the Zoo is the king of classic rock. Got those deep cuts, those B-sides, that stuff that you're never going to hear on corporate radio. And the Zoo is now streamed universally 24/7, 365.
So if we go to Mars, we can hear the zoo?
Absolutely.
Nice.
All you got to do is go to vocalnow.com, and that would be vocal misspelled with a K, VOKAL now.com. AJ, you got that?
But they did that on purpose, didn't
On purpose, intentionally. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Intentionally is on purpose, right? Okay. Just want to make sure. Be sure.
Oh, hey, DC. If anybody, can you say if anybody wants a kitten, reach out because I got a kitten that needs a home.
Tony's got a kitten, so if anybody needs a kitten.
What color is it?
It's all black, unfortunately, but he's super sweet. Someone just left him at the office, and now he lives under my van down by the river.
I would love to take him, but I'm just afraid the hawks would get him
Well,
if
that's
he's
all
a
right.
kitten.
I would take him, but my
Did you got him with you?
no, I can go get him.
We should put him on camera.
I should have.
How long would it take you to go get him?
Oh, 10 minutes.
We could do it at the end of the show.
No, I got it.
Oh, you got shit to do.
We can do
Okay.
it next week.
Next week,
Next week. Let's
if
still go.
he's still around.
That's the Hawkins.
Yeah.
I may take him.
All right.
I'd love to have a mouse around the house, or
Yeah, he's a good one, I think.
I love it when shit rhymes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can make it rhyme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything new we want to tell the folks? No. All right,
Got a
guys.
new watch.
Oh, you did get a new watch. Yeah. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel. Just search Barside Jive Live at youtube.com and click subscribe. And then click that little bitty bell.
That was after the
That was a little delay. Because if you click that little bit, if you click that little bitty bell, you get my notifications when I post premium content, which is free to all of you guys, just because we here at Barside Jive think you are all premium people. So there. I still hear the bell. Speaking of premium people, bartenders would actually be in that category, AJ. I mean, a good bartender is a lot of things, like a marriage counselor, a good listener, a diplomat, rule enforcer. I mean, drink maker. I mean, they wear a lot of hats, right? If you're going to be a bartender, a good one.
I don't wear any hats.
I know, but you know what I mean. Philosophically speaking.
I guess.
Yeah. So this guy walks into a bar and sees a dog lying in the corner licking his balls. I mean, dogs do that, right?
You know why, right?
Yeah.
Because they can.
Yeah. Well, he turns to the bartender and says, "Boy, I wish I could do that." The bartender replies, "Well, you'd better try petting him first." No laughter.
No, that's great. I
No
just
laughter
heard it
from the
before.
right side of the stadium.
I've just heard it before, but it's a classic.
Okay.
You know why they, really why they lick their balls? Because they can't get their paw into a fist.
Oh! I haven't heard that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, that will bring us up to our featured guest segment, which is sponsored by our friends over at Fog Hat Cellars.
Hi DC, thanks for having us on your show. And for you folks, I'm Roger of the band Foghat, and these are our wines. Foghat Cellars. This is a Chardonnay from Monterey County, absolutely delicious, 2014. We have 2013 Pinot Noir from Monterey County. It's absolutely fabulous, a wonderful drinking wine. If you like Pinots, you'll love it. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon from Paso Robles. All our wines come from Central Coast of California. Steve Rasmussen is our winemaker. though in fact myself and Linda actually get involved in the making of some of our wines. Drink, enjoy, go to foghatcellars.com to find out how to get them. Thanks, bye.
Children got a boogie till the break of dawn.
You don't moan or anything, do you?
Hey, don't forget to use our coupon code Barside Jive at the checkout screen. And don't forget that you can always get 20% off if you use that code. And you can even get an autographed bottle from Roger.
Right.
He's the only remaining member
Of the classic
classic fog hat
lineup. Absolutely, AJ. Man, you're so good.
That's what I
Gosh.
do, DC. I tell you all the time what I do.
I know, I pick good friends. Well, guys, as I mentioned earlier, my featured guest is Corky Laing, legendary drummer of iconic rock bands Mountain and West, Bruce, and Laing. So, without further ado, I'll be right back with Corky Laing after this quick break.
DC.
How are you, Corky?
I'm doing great. I have my manager, lover girl, right here. Say hello.
Hey, how are you? Everybody needs one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At least.
If you can find one.
yeah. Well, I went a long way. I'm over in Finland, as you know,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I'm over here. It's great. It's great. And where are you? Are you in Dallas?
Dallas, yes.
Okay,
I'm gonna go see you.
Okay, see you later. Okay. I'm sorry, I missed that. Are you in Dallas?
We're actually in the city today. We're in the city of Grapevine. We're at AJ's bar.
Oh, it is actual bar.
We're at an actual bar,
Well,
sitting
I
at
thought
the
it was
bar.
like the name of the bar, but hey, I was gonna get a little buzz going, but I'm trying to behave. But okay, I'll
Man,
pretend.
get your buzz on, baby.
Say hey. Say this is AJ. He's the owner.
Oh, AJ, how you doing?
Hi, brother. How are you?
I just lost you. Why did I just lose you guys on the frame? Hold on a second. Let me see
Okay.
if I got you. Look really good, and you're in a small frame here. Hold on. Hold on. How's things going there, chat? What's the PIN?
The pin.
Share screen. There you are. It must be on your end. I'm not doing anything.
Stop doing that, DC.
Look like good hair or something. Daryl, there you are. Wow, what the fuck? Why do you keep coming and going? You're like my ex-wife. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Okay, why? But you're coming. What's going on there? You're coming in. You're coming out. You're the one that looks cool.
Maybe it's the Wi-Fi. Is the signal not good? The audio not good?
The signal's fine. Of course, we are in Finland. Who knows, right? The Russians get around the corner. They could be hacking. Check it out. Anyways, I can see you on the small screen, you know.
Okay, cool.
Daryl, I used to have fucking hair like that, you know. And then the punk days came in, right? You had to cut the fucking hair off or you're a dinosaur. What a fucking scam. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's all right to be a dinosaur, you know.
Okay.
I like dinosaurs.
Hey, man, I just want to thank you, Corky, for doing this. I really appreciate it. This is a pretty casual gig. I just, more than anything, I'd just like to have a conversation with you.
Well, you're doing it.
I know that, there's not anything that I could probably ask you that you haven't been asked a million times. So I'll try to be creative, but it's doubtful.
But wait a second. I'm going to bring a few things to the table.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time in Texas.
Okay.
Leslie West and I loved it down there. We played and I was playing with Kinky Friedman and the Texas Jew Boys. And when Kinky was running for governor, I was his assistant, along with the other manager he had. We had a great time. We ran out to about 5 or 6 cities. It was just great. And anyway, and then of course I went back to Austin, which I love Austin, and I got my tattoo on my arm. And anyways, I have a bit of a thing with Texas. I just love
Now,
Texas.
what tattoo was it, Corky?
The tattoo is right here. It's just a basic son, but I got one with my son. I think this is the one. I got to figure out where it is. Oh, here it is, over here with the bird. The eagle and the sun.
Right.
Yeah, and my son and I were going to have the same ones. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a connection. I don't know how much to make out of it, but we've had some good times in Texas. We've had some you're back. I don't know if you were born yet, but back in the early 70s, Mountain was, sitting on top of the world, and the Black Sabbath management asked a special favor from us from England. They said nobody will book them over in America. No bands want them on their package. But Felix and Leslie and I said, well, wait a second, let's try this out. So we went to Texas to try out Black Sabbath to see how they would do. And boy, they got slam basted. They really got nailed, but they did their thing, right? And as a result, became very friendly over the years with Tommy and all the guys, and Ozzy. And so, I mean, I just remember bought the Hooper on that Texas tour. It went on for about a month. And of course, Traffic, which was great. I mean, that was really the early packages. Like you paid $5 and you got about 5, 6 major acts.
Oh yeah, yeah. Back in the good days.
If I ramble, by the way, you got to shut me down because I just
No,
said,
no, no. I want you to ramble. In fact, I was going to tell you that please elaborate. If I ask something, please elaborate. Just no yes or no answers, okay?
Okay, no, yes, no Robert De Niro responses.
Yeah.
uh, no,
Let me do a quick intro. We'll get down into it, okay?
oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hang on a minute. Welcome back to Barside Jive. It is time for me to introduce my guest, the legendary Corky Laing, best known as Canadian rock drummer and longtime member of the pioneering and hard-charging American hard rock band Mountain. It's a real pleasure having you here today, Corky.
Well, it's a pleasure being there and here. And of course, compared to a lot of people, it's great to be anywhere. But thank you. Thank you, DC. I have had like 14 or 15 coffees. So if I ramble on, shut me down, you know? But it's great.
You'll be good. So, Corky, you have literally scaled the rock and roll mountain, haven't you?
I guess so. I think I'm still scaling it. I will continue to be it again till we get the other side of the mountain. I'm sorry to say, DC, that right now, as we speak, I am the last man standing on the mountain and the last man standing in West Bruce and Lang. So you and I were sharing a very special time in life to where I'm thrilled to be alive and I'm thrilled to play and I'm thrilled, to get a call to come and play. I'm humbled by the memory that a lot of the fans that we still have. I'm humbled. They come to shows, DC, to hear the repertoire that's basically, well, it's 50 years old. Let's call it. It's a half a century old,
Right.
and they're coming to listen to it. So I make sure these days that I play the repertoire pretty much the way it was recorded. And they liked that. For years, Leslie and I would do a couple of soul pills and we'd be jamming. We'd be jamming more than most bands and go off and do a half an hour version of Roll Over Beethoven, who knows? But Leslie and I used to love to do that, but it wasn't disrespect for the fans. It was just, that's the way we survived the road, on and off for 50 years. And it's great to have the fans sticking with us, or I call them friends. I don't call them fans.
So there was a lot of, I guess, alcohol and drugs then, right?
Nah, nothing. We were clean as a whistle. No, we were going to church every day. Okay.
So how bad was it in its worst days? How bad was it really?
People were, well, like Mick Taylor from the Stones. I remember we were playing. Isn't it funny? They're calling it great or weird. People go to the restroom and come out very optimistic, and I thought that was a great way of putting it. But yeah, hey, it was an era. It was an era that, translated into a lot of very demonic, decadent behavior. And at the same time, very creative behavior. There's some of the best shit came out of that stuff. I don't know that it would have been different, but it is what it is. Yeah, I think it created a lot of fundamentally great music and art, and it destroyed the creators in the terms of that. I think I'm just giving my take on it,
Right.
but it was a lot of fucking fun. Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this thing?
You can.
I can't. Thank you.
You can say whatever.
Not that I never say fuck or shit on the RADIO. Okay.
Right.
And so I just I don't know. Was that a question?
No, I was just making a comment. I was making a smart ass comment that there were no drugs or alcohol used.
There was nothing. No, we were all good. No, that was I don't know. It was just there was in the 80s especially a lot of cocaine. That was the trend. That was because of the disco thing, though. The weird thing was I was living in Nantucket, Nantucket's an island way off. You make a right at Boston and you go out to sea, and nobody was around. I was the only rocker sort of on the island, and I loved it there because I used to play in the summers. I used to go there from Montreal and play in Nantucket in a beach club. Anyways, long story short, there was a doctor. His name was Dr. Voorhees, great doctor, great guy. And he was a friend of mine. And he actually gave me a prescription way back in the, I guess it would be the early 80s. And for Quaaludes. And Nantucket, nobody knew anything about that. So I would get these prescriptions for Quaaludes, and I would go to New York to do my solo promotion and all that. And I would bring these bottles of Quaaludes, which 714s, which they stopped in New York. They stopped. Yeah, I don't know. The pharmaceutical company shut them down because they were the best pills in the world for fun. And you just take one of those pills and you give them to your girlfriend, or give them to a girl, and you're off. You're off. You're getting lucky and getting lucky and getting luckier with those pills. But I took them, and I remember I was staying. I was in between millions, but they put me up at the St. Regis in New York, and I was staying, waiting for the president of Electra Asylum to come and have a meeting. I was going to get a manager. And the manager, oddly enough, was going to be like this guy Irving Azoff, who at the time, he was one of these upcoming managers.
Right.
And I had the Quaaludes, but the Quaaludes were worth an easy gram of blow. So I would never sell. I have to say, I never did any business with that, but I did a lot of bartering. And I'd have the greatest time because I'd walk around. This is sort of confidential. It's not going anywhere. By the way, I'm not on video, am I?
Yes.
On the show?
Yes.
I didn't get my hair right. You look fucking hot, but my hair looks like it came from a bar mitzvah.
Corky, I take that as a huge compliment coming from you.
Well, it should be. I mean, there's a lot. People have attitudes about that shit. But hey, I still got hair, so I'm happy. Getting back to my Quaalude stories. So I go into Studio 54, and I guess people know, they say, "Here's a gram of Coke, just give me one Quaalude." Because the Quaaludes that was fun. That was 150% of fun in a pill. And if you couldn't get laid, you may as well just give up on life, because those pills were aphrodisiacs. And why am I telling you this story? Because you asked me if there was any drugs or alcohol in our world. Wow. The answer is, I think so. I think so.
The short answer is yes.
Talk about going on, right?
You're awesome.
It's all in the book. I feel like a promo slug.
I know.
You have the letters to Sarah. This is the book that tells it all. That was way back when Ozzy Osbourne was recording Mississippi Queen a few years ago. I was talking about the book. And he says, "Well, it's not going to be one of those fucking books where you're fucking snorting fucking ants off a kitchen fucking table, is it?" I said, no, I want to do like, a proper book. "Well, it won't fucking sell, Porky." I mean, don't be a fucking dick. He says, "Put all the trash you can in the book." But the book is not, I don't think it's trash. It's a story of a young Canadian kid being brought up in a big family in Montreal, Canada, and the youngest of the family trying to get attention in the household. And we weren't, I don't consider us to be poor, but we were middle class, lower middle class. And there wasn't a lot of money going around. And I have triplet brothers, a sister. I mean, I got to come from a big family. And the only way to get attention is to play drums. I knew, I've always loved drums, ever since way back, Gene Krupa, you name it. So I managed to get a pair of bongos when I was 11, 12 years old. And I brought the bongos to, in those days in elementary school, they had these Friday afternoon dances. And all the girls would be at one side and the guys would be on the other. So I brought my bongos, and there was a song called Runaway by Del Shannon. And I used to bang the shit out of those bongos at these, I guess, dances. And it was like a chick magnet. The girls would come over. Oh, what's that? Wasn't that cute? I would bang those. And every now and then I'd miss the bongos and bang my dick, and I'd fucking be in pain. But I drew some attention. And so drums became, it's a chick magnet. And I knew that way back. Everybody knows that now. That's good.
Yeah.
It's good to have a drum set as opposed to a sticks in your hand, as opposed to a 45 or something. You're going to blow somebody away. But yeah, in those days it was cool. And I'm rambling here, DC.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Oh no, DC, I was talking about my book.
Yeah, I know.
Letters to Sarah, and that's with Jeff Albright. He's doing a great job.
Yes.
He's getting it out there, and the response that he's getting is wonderful. And he deals with a lot of artists and a lot of books. But I'm glad about this one. And what I was saying about this book is that it was co-written with my manager and lover girl that you met, and her name is Tuya Tekala, French. She's a doctorate. She's very bright, and she helped me. Well, she wrote, and it's a real book, and I'm very proud of it. So I'll leave it there. I'll back off on the promotion, the slut part of me.
But tell me, Corky, that book, Letters to Sarah. Sarah was actually your mother.
Yes, that's right.
And so this book is based upon these letters that you wrote her. I assume as you travel down the road, you would write your mother, tell her what was going on. Is that right?
That's exactly right. In those days, like I just said, it came from a big family. And if you come from a family and you just want to get noticed, I mean, there was 7 of us in the house, and I was the youngest, and I just saying they really didn't need me. So when I did, in the summertime on the weekends, I had a local band. Well, it became a national Canadian band, but we played some really awful places in Quebec. We'd cross the border now and then into Vermont and Rochester and Buffalo and go. And I just, it was lonely when you're a kid and you're out there in the winter time, you're checking into a hotel and the 4 of you in one room. And so I would write my mother and just tell her about it for like 30 odd years. Everywhere I'd go, I would, I'd end up in a hotel, shoot off a letter, and she loved it because I was the only, in those days, it was nice to get a letter. And these days it's nice to get a letter, but she loved it. And quickly what happened is she saved all these letters over a period of over 30 odd years, from the late 50s, the 60s to the 90s, before she passed. And she had put them away, saved them. And I didn't know this. And she puts them away, and then she passed away, and she gave me the box. She gave the box of the letters to my sister, who saved them. And I knew nothing about it. And then my sister passed away and gave it to my brother, who was in Ottawa. And then he held them for me because I was on the road all these years. Right. And then my brother, I guess, passed away and sent me the boxes of these letters. And they were put away in Long Island, where in a rehearsal space that I had, a studio. And Tuja Tekala came. We were doing a project called Playing God. It was an opera, a rock opera, and she was walking around and she found the box of letters. At the time, this is like when we were talking to Ozzy about, everybody was starting to write books, and what's his name, from Motley Crue wrote the Diary of a Heroin Addict and that. And Ozzy said, he said, we didn't want to go that direction specifically. So Tuja said to me, listen, the letters are all dated over years, 61, 63, 65. And the Mountain days are in there. The Westbooth and Laing days are in there. All that changed was the hotels. It was a shithole to the no-tell motel to the stick it in, and all of a sudden we're at the St. Regis, you know. So the only thing that changed, of course, the music changed, but I didn't stop writing letters.
Wow.
And it was, so it's in the book. That's what it's called, Letters to Sarah.
That's
And,
awesome.
you know, I could have called it, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that. But I had another book that I wrote years ago, sort of a magazine book. And then Carmine Appici copied the title and he called it Stick It. And I'm not going to send any lawyers after him because I love them. But the point is that this book that actually tells the story of an aspiring kid who didn't really have any dreams. You know, all the other, I got a dream, I dreamt I was here. My dreams became the reality because I didn't have a dream. So, I mean, if I'm playing, whether I'm playing Radio City or we're the first band to play the Carnegie Hall, I mean, in those days, that was big time, DC.
Oh yeah.
You know, and yeah, it was big time. And for me, it was like, hey, this is cool. And yes, I was getting laid. I have to admit, and I wasn't that good though. I was too tired after a show, so I kept on writing notes back to these girls saying, I apologize. I couldn't get my dick up, whatever. No, whatever. Anyways, it wasn't that big a deal because everybody won in those days. You know, the fun was ubiquitous. You know, it was everybody's fun, and that's what I liked about it. And you know, and then of course, as you know, everybody started going to the restroom by themselves, and that's when it started becoming kind of selfish, kind of bad. You know, when you go in there and you do your own drugs and you get into your own thing and it becomes tedious, it becomes bullshit. The idea of having a good time is to share whatever it is, whether it's a fucking drink, a cigarette, a joke. The only thing I don't share is sex. I'm very uptight about that, you know, but I'm sure a lot of your listeners understand that. You know, you keep your dick to yourself. I don't want anybody else, man, woman, child, whatever. Don't go near me. You know, I'm on my own. Am I going off? You think, DC? I'm fucking going off. You know
Oh,
that.
you're doing good, Corky. Let me tell you, if you had been born a couple of decades later, your book would have been called Text to Sarah.
That's good point. Good one. Text to Sarah. That's fun. Email to mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that's a good one. Good one.
Well, I've read so many of your stories, Corky, and some of them I really would love for you to tell them today because I've never heard you in person. I've just read the words on the page, and it's nothing like you telling them in person. But the result of that power outage in the summer of '69 changed your life forever, in my opinion.
It did. That's, I never thought of it that particular way, but yeah. Yeah, that was it. That is, I told you, Nantucket, we play there. Nantucket, you have to go all the way down and go east to Boston. And it's on the coast. Nantucket is it's like a little island off the coast of Boston. You have Martha's Vineyard, which is a little island. And then, yeah, it's on Cape Cod. And then you have Nantucket. And in those days, Nantucket was it still is beautiful, but you have to have $1 billion to get your private plane on it. But back then, it was just a hippie. I wouldn't say hippie. It was just, you know, nobody knew about it. And we had an agent put us there, and we were playing there, you know, doing this 5, 6 sets a night, 6 nights in a row. But it was a beach club, and it was right on the ocean. So it was just beautiful. And what happened is because Nantucket is an island, it's out there. In those days, they didn't really get into air conditioning. And so happened the summer we were in there, the summer of '60, and it was the first summer they had air conditioning on Nantucket. And I guess everybody did it this one hot night in August, really hot. Everybody, and it blew out it blew out all the, you know, all the resistors or whatever the electronic connections are. And I was playing this club called 30 Acres. And it was packed all the time. Everybody was smoking, toking. It was really fun. You know why? They had one cop on the island, Sergeant McGrady, and he just didn't want to deal with the hippies and all the kids. And it was fun. It was a blowout. We're playing this club, and of course, at the time, the band I had was called Energy, and we did a lot of covers, but we played some current covers. In those days, Whiter Shade of Pale, because we had an organ player.
Yeah.
And we played Traffic, and we didn't play the top 10 the way a lot of bands would. We played a lot of the underground stuff. And it was great. A trio. It was really easy. And what happens a hot night in August, the lights blow out on the whole island. And of course, the same thing with the small club. And there was this small light, emergency light on the dance floor. Keeping in mind, I'm playing up on Cripple Creek. She sends me if I spend. And I'm looking out there on the dance. I had a couple of soul pills, I have to admit. I'm playing my heart out. And I look on the dance floor, and there's this gorgeous girl dancing in a see-through knit dress. And she's dancing with a friend of mine, Roy Bailey, a great artist. And he apparently brought her up from Mississippi. He told me, I got this girl coming up to visit. Wait till you see her. And there he is, dancing on the floor at this club, dancing on Temple Creek, and the fucking lights blow out and the electricity. So there's no microphone, and I am playing drums, which thank God are not electric. And I'm playing, and I said, I can't stop playing. This chick is gorgeous, and she's looking at me, I'm doing what I can to get her attention. I said, and then I'm playing, and it's the same beat, like, like this, and I said, and she's from Mississippi. So I'm going, hey, Mississippi, fucking stone, Mississippi. And she looks at me, and I go, you know what I mean? And I'm playing, and the people keep dancing. They're dancing. I said, don't stop fucking dancing, Corey. Don't stop. And I hit the cowbell, because anytime you hit a cowbell at DC, they love to dance to it. You hit a cowbell, people get up and dance. So I'm playing the cowbell, hey, Mississippi, and they're dancing. And I don't stop playing. Of course, the music's over. It's just me rapping. Hey, Mississippi, you know what and I'm doing this shit stoned out of my mind. And fast forward, we get fired. The band gets fired because we're doing too many original songs. And we're back in New York in a loft on 39th Street. And I'm with the band, and we're soaking wet, as hot as a piss. And I say to the guys in the band, I said, I got this lyric idea for Mississippi Queen. Can you help me out? This is the guys in the band. I said, and they go, we don't even have a record deal. We have, what are you writing a song for? We have nothing. We got nothing, our deal filled, whatever. And I said, I don't know, man. This has got a nice vibe to it. And anyways, I kept it. I kept the lyric. Fast forward a couple of months, we're recording Mountain Climbing in September '69. I think I'm getting the dates close. I have to check the book. Anyways, so we're in. I go up to Leslie's apartment, and he's got this beautiful apartment up on Park Avenue. Hey, Cork, we got to come up with some songs. Felix said we got to come. You got anything? I said, well, Les, I happen to have this lyric called Mississippi Queen, but I have, that's all I got is the lyric. Let's see the fucker. So I take the lyric out, and I show it to him. DC, within a New York minute, he's fucking wailing on the guitar, screaming, and he's reading the lyric. It wrote itself. It just did it. He looked at me, he said, I didn't know you were a fucking lyricist, Lang. This is pretty cool. Anyway, so we brought that to the studio. We brought it to, and we played it right there. Felix got on the bass, and it happened so fast, I think Felix was freaked out because he really loved it. He says, well, we should do another one. And then we do another one. And then we do another take. You know which take we kept? The first take. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. That would be the story, as accurate as I can tell it, and I've been working on my memory. So that's pretty close.
Yeah.
But that's the story.
But you added the cowbell
Yeah, the cowbell was, it's funny you said that, because when we were in the studio, I don't know if you remember how loud Mountain was. I mean, there was a stack of Suns, there were a stack of Marshalls, and I'm sitting there with an old Rogers drum set with these LP real old timbales that I was using because I couldn't afford a regular tom toms, and I didn't even have a double bass drum the same size. I got a smaller bass drum. So I'm using two different bass and I'm playing, but at the same time, how do you count in with that kind of volume? So Felix says, listen, just hit the cowbell and we'll take it to cowbell. So I'm doing, you know, and it was there and it came right and it worked. And then we went to mix it. And I said to Felix, I guess you want to pull out the cowbell. That's just the count in, you know? And Felix looked at me, he said, no, that's kind of cool. It grabs your attention. And he kept it in. And as a result, I became a heavy metal drummer.
Wow.
Heavy metal. I love that fucking term. It's because I had the timbales, you know, and this was all, I couldn't afford a regular kit. Eventually, of course, you know, I did buy a regular kit. Then people like Carmine Apicci and Matt Apps from government, where's your timbales, Corky? And I said, I hadn't played timbales for years. And you know what I did? I got a set of timbales since I've been in Finland, and I love them again. You know, you forget things. You just
Yeah.
forget stuff like that. But I do have 4,000 cowbells that are, you know, that are in my car. I can sell them. I'm kidding. But it's
Man,
true. It's funny. The cowbell that I use, which my son has right now, the cowbell that I used is funny. It cost me $2.49 Canadian. And somebody said to me way back, "Oh, was that the? It was Brian Tichy from the Bonzo Bash. You know, the drum,
Right.
the drum car." He says, "By the way, have you been offering money for that?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I have." So that cowbell, which I paid $3.49 for, I could have probably unloaded it for the thousands. I'm not saying I would have, but I could have. I mean, people were making offers, but it wasn't going anywhere. That cowbell was going to my son. You know, and
Right.
that's the story of the cowbell. But
Right.
I can probably bullshit you and tell you I have another cowbell that I used, 1987 in Germany. I can make up a lot of stories. Sorry, I'm going on. Boy,
No,
am I
no, no.
I'm going on, DC. You got me. What'd you give me? What'd
What
you give me from Texas?
Corky, what happened to Molly?
You know what? That's funny you mentioned that. She's a grandmother. She has
Wow.
14 grands. No, I actually got a letter from her way back. She was actually still gorgeous. She's beautiful. And what happened to her? Well, I tried to write another song when I was working with Eric Schenkman and Noel Redding. We had a band called Cork. We had for a couple of minutes. And we did a song called Sin City, where I go back to Vicksburg in the song and try to find the Mississippi Queen. And it turns out in the bar, I run into a beautiful girl that looks just like Molly. Turns out to be Molly's daughter. This is the song. And I'm coming on to Molly's. I didn't know this at the time. And she says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm actually coming. I'm looking for this woman, Molly, who I knew 40 odd years ago." And she says, "That's my mother's name." And I went, "What? Are you kidding me?" And she says, "Do you think it's her?" At that point, I'm saying this is going to get very kinky. DC, got daughter looking gorgeous. I'm sure Molly looks. I didn't see her, but I wrote the song. Eric and I wrote the song, and it's sort of the sequel to Mississippi Queen. And I don't know what else to tell you about that, but uh, that's you answer. That's the answer to that question. You know, she's out there somewhere, I think, but you know, God bless her, you know. Um, but I'll tell you, Robin Marie is around, you know, Nantucket Sleigh Ride.
Right.
Goodbye, Robin Marie. Yeah, I ran into her in Nantucket a couple of years ago. She's adorable. And she looks the same. You know, some of the chicks, excuse me, the females, I want to be politically correct. Some of the girls back then, they just kept their looks and, you know, maybe a little bit longer hair and it's gray. But Robin Marie looked adorable. And she's married, has kids and the whole thing. But it's nice to have the names to some of the girls, you know, on your record.
Right.
Grand Funk stole the one from Alabama. Who was that named? That we're American band, and what would they call little so and so from Birmingham? Do you
Oh
remember the
yeah.
song? What's,
Yeah.
yeah, that was my girlfriend, and Mark Farner took that because that girl, she was every band member knew her. But I'm so glad I was the first. Otherwise, you'd have to bring a toothbrush. You know, I mean, there's a couple of girls that were, you know, regulars in the town. Was it Little Bonnie? Come on, you should know. Little so and so from fuck it, it's not worth it. You know. Anyways, what I'm saying is there's a lot of girls out there. God bless them. They kept the bands alive. You know.
It wound up in songs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're yeah.
And so I guess Molly knew that she was the Mississippi Queen.
You know what? I've told the story a million times, and it's been published. But yeah, I guess you're right. I imagine that. You know.
I mean, I imagine someone told her.
Yeah, I would say that, but it's funny because somebody said I thought Mississippi Queen was about a transvestite or you know a transgender hooker, and I went okay, whatever, you know, read into it. But no, she wasn't a trans. But you know, Mississippi, you know, the Queen part play, and I don't know. You can go on and on. The song is what it is, DC. It's what it is. But
Well,
if she's, oh, I didn't send her any money. If you know what I'm talking about.
right. Well, you know, of all the songs I can think of in the vast rock catalog, Mississippi Queen has got to be one or two. I mean, if as far as iconic rock and roll songs, I mean,
Yeah, I'd like to think that.
dude,
You're
I'm
not
serious.
crazy.
I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I've been a huge Zeppelin fan since the mid 70s, early to mid 70s. But Mississippi Queen, it's always been on my fucking playlist. Always.
There you go. Good. I love it. It's a
Now,
financial pleasure. It's no question.
I own every Mountain album there ever has been. However, Mississippi Queen has always been the one that's been on my playlist.
All right.
So it
Thank you so much. How much do I owe you?
nothing. Just the interview.
There you go. Very well. Very proud to do it. I'm humbled.
So I want to move forward really quick, and I want to mention that you actually kind of got your start with this really cool band back then, the Ink Spots, back in like the early 60s, right?
That's correct.
They invited you to play with them.
That's right.
And they were big. I mean, internationally.
Yeah, they were like the Persuasions or the, you know, My Girl, you know, those Pretenders, whatever. They were of their time. They were beautiful. Quickly, what happened, I'm not going to interrupt too much, is I was at the time 10 or 11. My triplet brothers were bussing the tables because they were 3-4 years older than me. So they were old enough to work at this Riviera Cabana Club, which was like a small little country club outside of Montreal. My mother was the salesperson for selling memberships. So there, my brothers were working. I wanted to work. So the owner gave me, I was allowed to take care of the stage, sweep the stage, take care of the microphone. And there was a drum set there for bands that had drummers, you know, in those days. And most of them were comedians from the Catskills, you know, Jackie Mason, Jackie Carter, you know, any Jackie. But this was one of the few times they had the Ink Spots come up. So there I am sweeping the stage at DC. I'm sweeping it, and these 4 or 5 beautiful black dudes walk in, and they're looking and say, "Yo, kid, where's the musicians? You know, the union musicians, because there's just a guitar player with them."
Oh.
And I said, I got to tell you, from what I heard, sir, there was a union strike in Quebec and Montreal in the same vicinity, and the musicians are on strike. And they're going, oh my, and they didn't want to lose the gig. And they had the guitar player, and they're beautiful singers. And they said, I see you're brushing the stage there, boy. There's a drum set there. Can you give us some brushes just to give it a vibe? Never played a drum It was a beautiful big white drum set, or for me it was big. I get on there with brushes, and I've watched different drummers, at bar mitzvahs and sweet 16s, whatever. So I've seen them brush. So I get in, I'm brushing, and I'm looking out to the audience, DC, and there's all these people having dinner, like it's a dinner club, and they're looking at these 4 or 5 black guys with this little white kid on the drum set. And I'm staring, at these big eyes, and I'm looking. And so, first time I said to myself, wow, I'm on stage and everybody's looking at me. Little did I know the reason why they were looking, but I said, I must be good. And I hadn't done a thing. I was just sitting there with the brushes. So for me, that was my big kind of like, wow, this is the place to be. This is the best seat in the house.
Right.
So that's the story of that one. And it's in the book, but yeah, the age spots.
Your life, Corky, has been one like long progression, one long series of events. It's just like good shit just happens to you. So I know that later on, you and your good friend George Gardos,
Yeah.
you guys formed a band called Bartholomew Plus Three, right?
Yeah.
And you guys were opening for bands like The Who,
Yeah,
Cream, Jimi Hendrix. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Serious. It was really quickly, just to tell your audience, the fella that ran all the shows at the Forum, which is the house of the Montreal Canadiens ice hockey, Steve Cooper, ran, they booked, in those days they had Dick Clark and his caravan coming through, with all the pop singers and that's the thing they had. And he would book people like The Who. James Brown came into town. We were opening for James Brown.
Wow.
It was, and it was, but we went up there, 3 guys. DC, they had to hire a Canadian band when you had an American or English band come in. If you had an international item, they had to, and the manager of the Forum was our manager. So he put us on all those, on the Jimi Hendrix, Cream, you name it, we were on stage. And there's that story about Keith Moon, when the Who came, keeping in mind, DC, that in those days when the Who were on stage, that was when they blew up the stage and their instruments. That was back in the early 60s, right? So it was kind of like the bands that came through Montreal, they weren't gods yet. This was their first trip to America in most cases. The Who, Cream. I mean, they all went and they all started in Canada, especially Montreal, to get their working papers before they went into New York. So it was kind of like they had a stop in Montreal. And in the book, it describes how we had a recording studio, it was a rehearsal studio deep in this basement that we were able to play 24 hours a day. So after these guys get off the stage, the Trogs and stuff, I mean, they are speeding their heads off, right? Dropping these Mandraxes, whatever they took in Canada and in England, they come over and they can't wait to play. So they do like a 20-minute show at the Forum, and all they want to do is play more. So we dragged Hendrix down to the rehearsal studio, and yeah, we had people coming. It was a really great time because it was all timing, right? You see, it's all timing. It's all like, it so happens you had to be there. But I think you put it pretty accurately. I can use the 4-letter word as my life, and that would be luck. I had so much luck.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're ready in terms of performance, whatever, if you have it ready, what you want to do, you get the luck, then success follows. I think that's sort of my formula, if I may say so. You got to have a lot of luck. These days, I don't know where you find the luck, DC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, you're sitting at a bar having a drink while I'm dying for a thirst on this fucking computer, and anyways, I'll have a drink on you when the time comes.
Hey, Corky, it's not that good. It's not that good.
Okay. God bless you. God bless you.
AJ gave me a cheap beer.
He did. Tell AJ I want to come and get one when I'm there. All right.
It's not a good Canadian beer.
It's not. It looks like fucking Shadow Nif the cat piss.
Yeah, it does. Corky, if you ever make it to Dallas, we're going to totally take care of you. We're going to sit at the bar and we're going to have some drinks, and we'll feed you some Texas barbecue.
I'm gonna take you up on that, because we will be coming to Texas on this next tour. It's gonna be 2022. We have some dates booked in the August and in the UK and in Germany, but I think the major dates west, I call it, will be coming 2022. Probably next year this time.
Well,
You
we're
know,
only
and yes, we will come. Like I said, I go to Kerrville and visit my friend Kinky.
oh wow,
And
yeah.
you know, I like have friend. Yeah, it's great. And yes, what don't you know about yes? Yeah, yes, I'll take you up on the barbecue. Best
Okay.
barbecue in the world. Jesus, we drove around some of those places out near Kerrville, like I said, near out Boston and stuff. It's great. Texas is a great place, especially I think Dallas and you know, Austin. Some great places, great people. There's some
Well,
great people. There are some assholes out there too, aren't there? Every now and
we
then.
we
They're all over.
we stay away from those, but
Yeah, good.
but we're only 5 minutes from the airport from DFW, so we're really convenient.
That's great. Well,
So
put me in your books.
okay, we'll get a car to come pick you up at the airport. You can come here and then wherever you need to go, but we'll take care of you.
Okay, that sounds good. So, podcast, would that be a video?
Yes.
Oh fuck, I didn't get my hair right today.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we can do.
Give me your hair.
I can tell you what we can do besides that. You know, Carmine Apiece.
I know Carmine, yes.
I know you do. He gave me 2 days, 2 interviews.
Okay.
So maybe I could get another session out of you.
I don't mind. I'm here. I got quite a few things going on this week, but if you want to do it next week,
Yeah, next week.
We could talk about you, and we could talk
Oh no, Corky. No,
No?
it's all about you, brother.
Let's talk about me.
Our life is pretty fucking boring compared to his. They don't want to hear about ours. No, seriously. So if you could give me another hour, say next week or 2, that'd be awesome.
All right, let's plan that, and we'll do it.
Okay, cool.
And we could talk specifically about stuff in the book. There's the Jimi Hendrix story, which is kind of cool. You know, I could drop quite a few names. The trouble is, most of the names I dropped are all drop dead. That's the problem.
Well,
We'll work around that. You know, God bless them. Most of the people that we passed, you know, that are dirt napping, are they left their music, so that's good. You know, the music is sailing. You know, is doing it.
I want to promote your book, so I want to do a promo for the radio as well.
That'd be great.
Let me ask you another couple of questions about something we've been talking about, and then we'll end it for today. Something else that I wanted to mention: when you guys formed Bartholomew Plus 3,
Right.
you guys actually got the attention at Atlantic Studios, where you guys were recording in New York City, of the legendary Ahmet Ertegun.
Yes. Yeah. The legendary, and Tom Dowd, the legendary engineer who did Derek and the Dominoes and all the Rascals and Aretha Franklin, was our engineer. Probably, you know, when you talk about peaks in life, that we walk in and who's in there recording Groovin', but the Rascals and Dino Danelli, right? And he didn't have his drum set up. And I remember I walk in, I'm in awe, because Dino Danelli is one of my favorite drummers, and I love the Rascals. And I said, Dino, what happened? He said, no, man, we're not going to put a drum set on this. Felix Cavalieri at the time, he wants to do the song just with congas. And as you can see, I have a little bit of a trivia for you. Groovin' is the only top #1 rock hit on pop radio that does not have a drum kit on it. Isn't that cool?
Wow.
There's no drum kit. That's it. That's true. And
I have never heard that.
I was on the road with one of the Hippie Fest things, and Felix invited me up to play on Groovin'. I played the congas, and it was great. You know, it's just because I love congas, and it reminds me of the days in elementary school where it was like a chick magnet to play anything Latin, But the point is, what was I getting at? What story was I on?
What we were talking about.
Yeah, the Atlantics. Yeah. Well, Felix Pappalardi was trying to get in to do Cream. He wanted to produce Cream. Cream was introduced to Ahmed by Robert Stigwood, but Ahmed Erdogan didn't really want Cream. He didn't understand. He wanted the Bee Gees. Robert Stigwood managed the Bee Gees.
Wow.
And he said, and I remember Ahmed Erdogan, a little trivia here. Ahmed Erdogan said to Felix, listen, I got this trio, but I got this song that I want you to do before that. There's a song that Ahmed Erdogan loved, which was When I Fall in Love, that Nat King Cole had recorded years before. He wanted a current version of When I Fall in Love. And he asked Felix, hey, you want to do Cream? Bring in a version, a hit record of When I Fall in Love. And the band was Bartholomew Plus 3. And so we went into Atlantic Studios, which I just told you about. Walk in, there's the Rascals just leaving, and there's Tom Dowd and Felix, and we're going to produce this When I Fall in Love. And we did a bam, that four. Remember the old fours? It was like really pop shit. But it was, and then Felix added the New York Philharmonic string section to give it that whole. He wanted to produce a record that would, get Ahmed Erdogan's attention, and it did. Ahmed loved it. The record sold 4 copies, but it got Felix the gig to produce Disraeli Gears. That's the story of that. But the only thing is, since Ahmed didn't know anything about Cream, nobody knew it. They had that first record, Fresh Cream, which I thought was brilliant, but it didn't sell. And so they had 12 days to record, finish, mix Cream. And that's Disraeli Gears is like probably the shortest, in those days, the Kinks and all those bands, they had 2 days to make an album. But in this case, they did Disraeli Gears in, I think, 2 weeks tops, the whole thing. And it's one of the best records made,
Wow.
Did I tell you that story? Where did I go? Oh, that was Bartholomew Plus 3. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in 69, you and your friend George, is he still around?
Yes, he is. He's very much. Yeah, he's in North Carolina now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. You guys are still good friends?
Yeah.
In 69, you and George and Gary Shipp went on to create Energy.
Right.
Who was produced by Cream collaborator and your future bandmate, Felix Pappalardi.
Yes. Right.
And that's where I'd like to kind of pick up next time, move from Energy to Mountain pretty quick, talk a little bit about Mountain and your relationship with Leslie West, and then let's end with promotion of your book.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay. I was going to tell you that I talked to Leslie West's manager back last fall, and they were going to grant me an interview this spring with Leslie, but they wanted to wait and do it to help promote a new album he was working on with this super group.
Yeah, I think he had Slash. I think he had Billy Gibbons. He had Kenny Aronoff play. He had a bunch of great players. Yeah. And
then before they got that album finished, he dies.
That's right.
So I never got my interview.
Well, I've got a couple you can have. I have a few interviews with him. Leslie, he had so much respect from different players that he inspired, whether it be Warren Haynes from Government Mule or Slash. He had a lot of people. I think I didn't understand, confidentially, is he would bring in guitar players to play with him. Was there Joe Bonamassa, Slash, Billy Gibbons? He'd bring in these guitar players to play, and he's the guitar player. I said to Leslie, I said, why don't you bring in a sax player or a bass player? Somebody that can, and he was a big celebrity lover. He loved the business, and he loved the celebrities, and, you name it. And he loved, and he was best friends with Ozzy, you know, and Tommy from Black Sabbath, but you know, it was one of those things to say, well, wait a second, you know, why don't you invite people that can embellish your playing? But he had his own way of doing it, DC, and that, you know, he was brilliant. But it took him dying to get the kind of attention that he really deserved. You know, like a lot of musicians, he was self-destructive in a lot of ways, but he could not destroy the reputation he had for those you know, those notes that he played, the blue notes and all that. You couldn't destroy that. He came close, but he didn't. He got that respect no matter what. And yeah, we could talk about that on the next one. All right.
Okay, awesome.
I don't like to talk too much about it, only because there's a lot of other people that can, you know, could put it in. You know, like he was like a brother to me. Well, I was talking 40, 50 years, you know, going through divorces, lawsuits, record deals, you name it. We've been through it as a couple. And, you know, we could talk about that. Hey, Les, I'm glad I got the 3 words in. Barside.
Dude, I couldn't have done it better myself. That's for sure. Hey, so
I want that beard. What's his name? Look at that beard.
AJ's beard.
Look at that. Whoa, that's big time.
He and Billy Gibbons have a little bit in common.
Yeah, you do. Do you know Billy?
Me and this guy, we got a lot in common.
Yeah, really don't.
In April, both of us, we're both worked at the same company overseas, training police officers in foreign countries.
Oh, really? Okay. You look like you got one of those Asian, you know, kung fu beards. You know, the ones they use. Looks good. Looks really good.
If I could pull off this hair, though, I would be doing it. I can't do it. I got to keep my shit short.
Yeah, I try to keep my shit short too, but I had too many coffees. You know.
Hey, Corky, I really appreciate you, man, and I'll get back.
We'll set it up. Okay, that's good, and I'll get my hair right.
Dude, I don't know what you're gonna do to make your hair any better. It looks great.
Really? Well, if I don't do it, I'll tell you what. I'll speak to my man. You can't send the program. No.
This is all DC does.
No, yeah.
Before he gets on with you guys, he just fluffs it up a little bit.
Kind of fluff it up a little bit, make it stand up.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, no problem. I just very silly about that. It's kind of become a silly mantra with me. How's my hair? Because I just cut it. It was about as long as yours. I just cut it last week. And, you know, because it was getting funky. You're still a dude. You're still a young dude. So when you get to be like 150 years old, your hair starts turning into like straw. You know? I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week.
We love you too. Okay, next week will be good.
Yep.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
You got it. Very kind. Thank you so much.
You.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Brother.
Mississippi Queen.
Mississippi Queen.
Leaving in the new one.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed my chat with Corky Laing. You heard him. He'll be back maybe even next week, so get ready for more from Corky. Guys, I do know we drink a lot of alcohol on this show. You tipping me? AJ's over here tipping me.
Making it rain.
But we really want you to do us a favor and make sure you drink responsibly and never ever drink and drive. Okay? How about that? All right. We will see you next Monday, noon Central, right here on Barside Jive. See you soon.